Afternoon. I've just gone like that with my hands and it started videoing. So let's see if I'm ready. I don't think I am. This is the knitting news for the 13th week of 2025. Quite bad news really, because Thursday was not a knitting night. Helen was away. Jill wasn't very well. And I did leave the house, but I went shopping instead, which is something I don't do very often, to be honest. Let's see. So Helen was in Amsterdam and she visited 3 different wool shops, mostly with wooling. They were laughing in one of the shops about, oh, you won't find any acrylic here. And I think that was Stephen and Penelope, which is the one everybody's heard of. So Stephen and Penelope are more, if you have Lush stores, you know, where you go in and people come over and ask you if you need help. And naturally I do, because it's, once you get in there, it all smells the same. And not quite sure what things are and what they're for and what to do with, because there's different bars for different bits of bodies. How are you supposed to know? So it's a bit like Lush, where they've got assistants walking around and help, and asking people for help. I think they've got less independently dyed yarn now than they had, and they've got house yarn, that they're selling more house yarn. They're also moving, and they're moving closer to what I think is Helen's favourite store, by the sounds of things, which is Hooks and Yarn. So the lady there is Sondra. And she's very friendly, and Helen said she'd been a year ago and she'd come back, and she was quite surprised about that. Very chatty. It's kind of a community store, and they have tables, and she knows all the customers by first names. And she showed Helen all around and gave her some advice on having a yarn shop, if Helen was to get sorted and have a yarn shop, which it's a dream of Helen's. So Hooks and Yarn, she gave Helen a free pattern book, and she told her that I'd mentioned her on the podcast or the vlog, and so I got some that I haven't got yet, some stitch markers. She put some stitch markers in for me, which was lovely. Very nice of her. She doesn't need to do that, and it's just stitch markers, but it's the thought that counts, isn't it? The personal touch, and the personal touch is what wins out. Now, Stephen and Penelope's store is moving closer to Hooks and Yarn, and she's not too happy about it. But it sounds to me like they're different enough for people to appreciate them both. And actually, if you're on the footfall from their shop, which is probably world famous, then you will obviously you should get more. I know if I go somewhere, I just Google wool shop and the name of the place, or go on maps and put wool shop in to see if there's any nearby. So I suppose other people probably do that, but I'm sure she'll get more trade, or the right trade. People pick and choose. Some things suit some people and other things suit other people, don't they? So I don't think it'll be a problem. So I've got some footage from inside Hooks and Yarn, and Helen kindly did a report for me. And here we go.
Here we are on Holland. This is Hooks and Yarn, a lovely community, local neighbourhood store. It's a very busy street.
There's another shop, another wool shop called Dyers. They sell Rowan, JC Rennie, British Breeds, Marie Wallin, which this cardigan. I am wearing a Marie Wallin design. It might look familiar because it was on the front of one of the Rowan books, but it was in, I think it was in a grey and a burgundy, something like that. And she was blonde, so mine looks quite different, and it's probably not knitted in the right weight yarn because I tend to be loose and I like my knitting sort of tight. So I think I made this with Rowan bamboo tape, which was a dreadful yarn that if you'd made anything that they recommended, it just grew 2 foot. And so I did use it eventually. I mean, it feels nice, but it's kind of heavy and it's like cardboard when you wash it. So I've used far smaller needles than they recommended for everything that I've made with it. It's Mother's Day today. I've only seen fur babies so far, but I'm due visitors and my daughter's away on holiday, but she comes back today, so that'll be nice. From Stephen and Penelope's shop, Helen bought this lazy swatch gadget. I'm yet to discover how that works. Maybe I should have Googled it first. So she bought that, and she bought some wool to make this design. By Anna Joanna. It's lovely, isn't it? I've finished the strawberry blanket and sewn the ends in. I've been away this weekend, so I've been quite busy while I was away Friday, Saturday, and obviously now I'm back. Turfing. I didn't find a wool shop. Why was I telling you I'd been away? Because I have 2 bags, 2 of the bags I've made that are identical. So I shoved a bag in my handbag with what I thought was Murano Squares shawl that you've seen recently. And I got on the train and got a bit of a longer journey on, because I caught 4 trains just to go to Nottingham to Let Women Speak. But I have 2 bags that are identical. So Murano Squares was in one, but the one I'd taken with me had Made in Its shawl in, and that is designed by Tabitha from, I think, a podcast is Made in Its. But the thing was, there's a setup row, and then it's only 2 rows until you run out of wool, which is great for like a 1 skein shawl project and just knitting on the go and not having to concentrate too much on a pattern. So I had this beautiful yarn. I shall show you. Back again. Left it downstairs. So this gorgeous yarn that's got... Actually, we're getting... It's got a different pop of a different colour, like every couple of stitches as you go along, and it's just lovely when it changes colour. So that is hand-dyed yarn called Aloe Ether. That's the name of the colourway. Third Vault yarns. It was a little bit tricky to read or to fathom out which way up it is. Yeah, it's that way up. That I definitely bought when I went to Glasgow School of Yarn show in Glasgow. I remember it being one of my purchases. It was specifically for World Con, is it? The comic geeky thing, which you can tell I know nothing about. It was dyed for that, apparently, which I think is this year in Glasgow. So it's kind of appropriate. I've picked it back up again, isn't it? I do love Glasgow. It's a great place. Much nicer than Edinburgh. Much more Scottish and less touristy. Right. So I had that on the train, and I knew it was called the Murder Knit Shawl. I knew it was by Tabitha. I knew that Neil had got it in one of his blocked magazines, so I checked on a database that he'd shared with us, and I found out which blocked magazine it was in. So then I had to find the magazine, find the pattern, screen print, and then I was off. But AI, when I did Google it, AI said that it was by Liz Clothier, who is one of our knitters that, we all know each other, because I think she does knitting and murder too. So Liz is to be found on Knit Night, which is knit, and then night is spelled N-I-T-E. But I'll try and remember to put a link in. Now I'm getting better at doing these things. So Knit Night's on, usually on in Monday evening, but here it starts at midnight, but it's been starting at 11, but it still felt too late for me. I go through phases, and it's not often that I can be staying up so late to go on, because that's like a knitting chat. We all sit and knit and chat, show our knitting off, and that's where you find Liz Clothier. Sometimes she's on Fridays when Joe Bob from Australia can join in. So if you fancy knitting and listening to people chatting on, and if you can join the live, it's even better, because you can join in chatting, listening to them chatting. And actually, sometimes the conversation is two different things. So the knitters on the screen are talking about one thing and the chat's somewhere else entirely. Right then, so that's the Murder Knit Shawl. Did I show you the shawl properly? I didn't. I just showed you the wool, didn't I? So it's just a wedge. It's a wedge shape. It's great for train journeys, and obviously just fits in like a little bag. So this is silk. It's proper real silk taffeta. I made some bridesmaid dresses out of this fabric, and that's recycled denim on the bottom. So I've made a few of those. And really should have my projects in different bags so I don't confuse them, but that was all right. I got some knitting done. A couple of inches, at least. 2 or 3 inches, I think, something like that. Right. I've told you what I'm wearing. I am drinking. Oh, for God's sake, I forgot me. Well then, I've just plugged my microphone in, so I might sound a whole lot better. Do I start again or just carry on from here? That's tricky, isn't it? And I know if I crinkle it... Well, I am drinking. I've already had my coffee this morning, so this is peppermint tea. Today's Mother's Day, so I'll be getting a visit at some point soon, I think. Also, that's my son. My daughter's been away on holiday, but she comes back later on today. So I get to see them both. And granddaughter's coming too. So that's nice, isn't it? I bought her a little dress, and I finished the strawberry blanket. I am working on... I don't have to run downstairs for it this time because I've already filmed it once. This is Halu by Caitlyn Hunter of Boyland Knitworks, and this wool is Dundaga. Or Dundaga. Kind of goes with what I've got on. So I've only just cast on. This is the neck. It's a top down with quite a lot of texture around the yoke, little bobbles and things as well. And this wool is Latvian and it's washed in a mountain lake, I think. That's what it says when you look it up. Anyhow, I've been wanting to start this for a little while, and I do have things that I need to finish. But the strawberry thing went on a long time, didn't it? And I just needed to do something fun that I really wanted to do. To knit something that I really wanted to knit. Should I put it that way? So that's what I've started. Hopefully I'll stick with it. Hopefully I'll enjoy it. And hopefully you'll see more of it soon. Neil of Blocked Magazine is doing a knit along. I'm not quite sure when it is. I don't think it's yet. I think it's in the summer, and it's everything has to be knit orange. So if you have a look in your stash for some orange wool, you get points the more orange it is, as in if all the yarn's orange. I think this will pass. It's very orangey, but I've only got 2 skeins, and this is Malabrigo Silky Merino. I just haven't decided what to make with it, but it's a lovely yarn. You get points for every 50 grams, I think it is. Every 50 grams of orange yarn you use. So if you were to use 100 grams of orange and green yarn, then that would count as 150 gram. And you get extra points if you use some yarn by a Wendy Yarn and Fibre, or Chicken Lady Fibre Arts, or is it Mystery Mouse yarns. They're 3 dyers that are participating in the knit along and dyeing orange yarn, because everybody can use orange yarn. It's not exclusive to just one person, because there is one person who thinks it is. And Neil, being Neil, has chose to highlight that fact. Right then, I think that's kind of it for this week. So more news, maybe, next week.
Oh, that's interesting. Your train was cancelled, wasn't it? So,
And I mean, ticket check. Do you need your ticket check?
you need your collar felt. Being
So naughty, middle-aged and pretending to be asleep.
for being a woman who doesn't do as she's told.
Oh, went to Oldham, got some yarn.